After much outrage about the World Rugby's Team of the Year, the rugby world has been left disappointed. In an effort to right their wrong, I have decided to make my own Team of the Year, but with a twist. Instead of choosing the objectively best players in the world in their position, such as Tad Furlong at tight head and Freddie Stewart at fullback, the players in my team are one of the best in their position, but also players who I feel we as a rugby audience enjoyed watching the most last year and who brought the largest smiles to our faces. To begin at loosehead, I have chosen the baby rhino Ellis Genge. After being one of the few highlight players for England this year and winning the Premiership title with Leicester, there was no question about his position in this team. He scored a mighty total of 8 tries for club and country last year and bulldozed through Hooper and Karevi like a hot knife through butter. Honorable mentions are Danilo Fischetti and Cyril Bale. Hooker is the next position on this list and is easily the most contested spot. However, after much debate, I have chosen the great Argentine Julian Montoya. Montoya was at the forefront of all of Argentinians' famous victories this year, putting in a mammoth performance against the All Blacks in August as a standout example. Not only that, he also won the Premiership title with Leicester, but the clear highlight of his season was his unforgettable sledges in the autumn against Scotland. Honorable mentions are Samisoni Taukei'aho, Pito Movaka, Malcolm Marks, Dan Sheehan, and Julian Marchand. Next up, tight head. I could have picked a few men for this position as the tight head position is full of class players nowadays, but I decided on the human cannonball Uni Antonio, standing at 6'5" and weighing in at 152 kilograms. Antonio was a beast in the scrum for both La Rochelle and France this year, being a key factor in both teams' huge successes last year, the Grand Slam and the Champions Cup title. Honorable mentions are Stephen Kitchoff, Oxninchi, and Tad Furlong. The number 4 position had only a couple of contenders, but after displaying terrifying ferocity against the Wallabies this September and changing the game against Italy in the autumn, I had to give the spot to Eben Etzebeth. This Springbok has been consistently superb for so long now, and he is a true great of the game and truly deserves this. Honorable mentions: Maro Itoje. The other lock in this team must be Tad Byrne, who most certainly beatered Sam Whitelock this year and deserved a spot in the World Rugby's Team of the Year. Byrne doesn't feel pressure and won 10 turnovers in only 11 tests, and his famous left boot saved Ireland and Leinster numerous times in 2022. Honorable mentions: Will Skelton and Johnny Hill. A slight outsider takes the 6th shirt in this team, and that is the Simone Theo McFarland. A former basketball player, McFarland's athleticism is clear to see and was imperious all year for Saracens, scoring 7 tries. For Samoa, he was the one shining light and put in a monster performance against Italy during the autumn. Honorable mentions: Saya Kalisi and Juan Martin Gonzalez. The easiest position to choose in this team, the open side flanker. Only one man was ever in contention for this spot, the true workhorse and World Player of the Year, Josh van der Flair. He has made the most tackles in the URC this season and was Ireland's joint top try scorer last year. He storms into contact like a train and can rarely be stopped, always drawing the eyes of any spectator. Honorable mentions: Ben Earl, Dalton Papali'i, and Martin Creamer. The last position in the pack and the most important position in the team. The number 8 holds the team together in both attack and defense, and this team's number 8 deserved to be World Player of the Year. Of course, it is Artie Savia. To sum up how good this man's year was, he was player of the match in 4 of 11 games. Savia is explosive on the ball and dangerous in the breakdown, a true joy to watch. Honorable mentions are Evan Roos, Gregory Aldrit, and Hachiva Deimani. Scrum half Antoine Dupont. 6 Nations Player of the Tournament, longest player highlight reel on YouTube, an absolute freak of nature. For France this year, he scored 2 tries, assisted 8, beat 14 defenders, and made 3 clean line breaks. Incredible rugby from the former World Player of the Year. Honorable mentions are Aaron Smith and Jamison Gibson Park. At fly half and taking the number 10 shirt is the most controversial player on the team. If you had watched the Autumn Nations last year and Bordeaux Begles play, you will know just how good Matthew Jalibert is. His silky feet and dynamism have allowed him to turn games on their head and sparked France's comeback against Australia in the autumn, for example. He shows an unearthly level of skill for Bordeaux every week, and his flair alone deserves him a spot in this team. Honorable mentions are Manny Libak, Santiago Carreras, Marcus Smith, Luis Carbonell, and Romain Tamac. Left wing was also a competitive position with many potential candidates. However, the player who fit my criteria the best was the Scotsman Darcy Graham. Like so many in this team, when Graham has the ball, you can't take your eyes off him. He has the strength of the forward, which Louis Rees-Zammit knows all too well, and can't be stopped, which allowed him to make a colossal 154 meters in 2022. Honorable mentions are Emiliano Boffelli, Marika Korobit, and Makizole Mapimpi. In the World last year, it appeared no inside center had a real standout year. However, when you look closer, it is obvious just how good Jonathan Dante was in 2022. Similarly to Antonio, he won both the Champions Cup and the Six Nations and was just as influential. His unnatural raw strength allows him to bump off anyone and helped him to make a huge 93 meters for France. Dante always causes headaches for his opposition, figuratively and literally. Honorable mentions are Jordi Barrett, Andre Esterhuizen, and Damien D'Allende. Echoing Squidge Rugby, the man in this position is pure class. Even with an injury, Lucanio Am is the only man who could have been this team's outside center. A true beacon of excellence for the Sharks and Springboks. In just 5 games for South Africa, he made 152 meters, beat 5 defenders, and had 3 clean line breaks. Lucanio Am always brings a smile to your face and is a pleasure to watch. Honorable mentions are Reiko Ioane, Gary Ringrose, Hunter Paisami, and Will Joseph. Right wing, just like the left wing, was as competitive, if not more. There were many candidates for the position, but the French flyer Damien Penaud was at his career best in 2022. Penaud shakes off tacklers like Cheslin Kolbe and has the finishing instincts of Chris Ashton. He was clinical all year for France, scoring 6 tries in total, the highlight being the match winner against the Wallabies. Penaud will be a true nightmare for opponents at next year's World Cup. Honorable mentions are Kurt Learens, Mac Hansen, and Werner Koch. Lastly, but most importantly, the fullback position, the pillar of any high-level team. Across the world, the fullback position is being dominated by young superstars, and the one taking the number 15 shirt in this team is the Italian Ange Capuozzo. World Rugby's Breakthrough Player of the Year certainly deserved his title, scoring 5 game-changing tries in 2022, which saw Italy to 2 historic victories over Australia and Wales. Unlike others, Capuozzo makes up for his lack of height with amazing footwork and lightning speed, and caps of this team superbly. Honorable mentions are David Niniashvili, Henry Arundel, Hugo Keenan, Freddie Stewart. Thank you for listening. Let me know who you would change in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed.